Hey guys, this is Ryan with Mama on Mission, and today I'm joining in a collaboration with Katie over at Life in the Mundane, and this is the Lessons in Motherhood, What I Wish I Would Have Known collaboration. And her channel is down below. Make sure you check that out. I love her channel. I've just met Katie through YouTube and Facebook and all the social media stuff this year, and I have had so much fun getting to know her and watching her channel. She does a lot of homeschooling, a lot of large family, a lot of gospel-centered home type stuff. So super good. Go check it out and check out the playlist down below and see who else is joining this collaboration with us, and comment down below and let us know what you wish you would have known sooner in motherhood. And especially if you're like a veteran mom, like you've been doing this for a long time, you got some teenagers or maybe even some kids out of the house, let us know, because those times are coming for me anyway, and I don't know that I'm ready for that. So I will say that, of course, setting out in motherhood, I had every expectation out there. I knew exactly what I didn't want to do. I knew a lot of what I wanted to do. And then when it came down to it, you know, best laid plans, you know, it just doesn't always pan out that way. But I will say there's not a ton that I regret. Of course, there are things here and there that I can think of that I wish I would have done differently. But God has shown me a lot of grace in motherhood, way more than I deserve. And thankfully thus far, there's not a ton that I regret. There's been things that I've learned from, for sure, and things that, you know, I know to do differently in the future. But by and large, God has been so good and gracious to me in motherhood. However, there are 3 things that I came up with that I just wish I would have grasped a lot sooner. And the first one is, every moment is a teaching moment. Teaching doesn't just happen at the kitchen table or at a desk or whatever. Teaching is all the time, because they're always watching you. And that's both a good and scary thing, because we don't always have to teach them, you know, sit down face to face, teach them every single thing in life. But that's also scary, because they're always watching you. And you know, and while sometimes they just need to learn obedience, they just need to learn, okay, why? Oh, because I said, just go do it because I told you to. There's value in that. But as they're growing, take those moments and give them a why sometimes. Sometimes, a lot of times, they just need that why. They need to know, you know, in scripture, why we tell them to do the things that they do. You know, they really want to eat ice cream for breakfast. They really want to play video games all day long. And yeah, we can just say, no, don't do that. But first of all, that's, you know, not healthy. We can tell them that. But deeper than that, and more importantly than that, the root of the issue is, you know, gluttony is a real thing. Taking care of our bodies is a real thing in the Bible. Wasting time is a real biblical principle. You know, like, we sometimes need to get to the heart of things for them and teach them in those everyday moments, instead of just saying, you can't eat ice cream for breakfast because I said, or because it's bad for you. No, you can't do that, because we need to honor God with our bodies and, you know, treat our bodies well. And then, you know, when they look at you and how you treat them, you know, they're learning justice. They're learning, you know, for me, it's real easy to just say, okay, we're doing this thing and this kid over here is making it really difficult. Okay, fine, we're just not doing it. Everyone go to your room. Okay, well, that's not justice. If there's one kid that's making the experience terrible and they need to be corrected, you need to take that one kid out and correct them, and, you know, let the other kids enjoy the project or the whatever it is that you're doing. You know, they're looking to me for justice, to see how justice is played out. They're looking to me for to see how attentiveness works. They know when I'm just sitting there going, scrolling through Facebook and not listening to a word they're saying. They know that. They're not dumb. And they're going to have the same level of attentiveness as they grow because that's what they've seen modeled for them. They're learning how to care for others from me, and they're learning how to care for others with a joyful heart. You know, how I scrub a toilet and don't complain, even though that's the worst job in the world. Folding mountains of laundry with a joyful heart. Taking meals to people when it's inconvenient. You know, whatever it may be, they're learning from me how to care for others and with what attitude to do that. And they're learning just all the values, all the things that the Bible said we should be or have or whatever. They're looking to me for that. And so I just wish I would have known a lot sooner that every moment is a teaching moment. And, you know, there are times when you just need to say, go play, and they need to just go play. But there's also the times when you need to say, okay, you know what I'm doing, even though it's what I want to be doing, it's not that important. What do you need? And let me sit down and talk to you and reason with you and listen to you about whatever, the book you're reading or the video game you're playing or whatever. They need that conversation. They need that connection. They need to be heard. And so sometimes you just have to sacrifice your time and say, you know what? This is a teaching moment, and I'm going to be there for my kid and teach them. And so secondly, something that I'm just now learning, like this year, this past few months learning, is productivity, at least my view of productivity, is not the determining factor of whether I've had a good or bad day. And this may not be an issue for some moms, I don't know, but the way my brain works, like, I am the to-do list queen. And I mean, of course there's, you know, that just feels good to check something off a list. I don't know anyone who doesn't find joy in that. But the pattern I found myself in was, at the end of the day, I was looking at my list, and everything that wasn't checked off, even if it was one thing, oh, I've had a bad day. It's been a terrible day. It sounds silly, but that's really how I thought. And so I am not saying that productivity is bad. I am not saying that, oh, you know, just, you know, Netflix and chill all day long. Let your kids fend for themselves. It's fine. No. But what I am saying is that my to-do list is not my God, and I can't honor it as such. You know, and when something doesn't happen, I've had to learn, I'm still learning, when something doesn't get checked off my list, I need to recognize that maybe it shouldn't have ever been there in the first place. Maybe I was setting crazy expectations on how much I can get done in 24 hours. Or maybe it was just something that wasn't worth doing anyway. And also, if it doesn't happen, you know, maybe it was a totally fine thing that I do need to get done. But maybe God sent me elsewhere to do something else that day, and that was his plan for me for that day. Maybe he gave me a sick kid that I needed to attend to. Maybe I needed to run an errand for someone. Maybe I needed to babysit for someone. Whatever the case may be, God is in control. I mean, God orders our steps, and we have to be okay with him doing that. You know, real life happens, and we can either deal with that graciously, or we can deal with that with a terrible, stinky attitude. And, you know, if you do handle whatever comes your way in a day with grace, that is something productive, because that is good. That's going to produce good fruit. And so I can't let my idea of what a productive day looks like, you know, hinder me from having a good day, even if my list doesn't get checked off. And the third thing that I wish I would have known sooner, God began revealing this to me when my oldest was about 2 or 3, so 5, 6 years ago, maybe longer. I don't know. I'd say probably 6 years ago. You know, is that motherhood is a holy calling. it's not something that I just kind of fell into. It's not something that, well, I've got all these kids, I guess I just better stay home and raise them. No, it's a holy and good and beautiful calling. And I know that sounds like a Hallmark card, but it's so, so true. You know, this is a mission. And, you know, that's where I got my channel name, Mama on Mission. I have, you know, 3 little boys, and it is my mission to raise them to be men and to prepare them for whatever calling God has on their lives. I'm not saying this is my only job, this is my only responsibility, but motherhood and being a wife and a homemaker is a huge part of my job. And how I do that honors God, if I'm doing it correctly with a joyful heart. But, you know, teaching the math problems and diagramming the sentences and whatever, or changing the diapers and giving the baths, or cooking, or scrubbing the toilets and doing all the laundry, whatever it may be, those things can be as much of an act of worship as, you know, going downtown and serving the homeless, or going on mission trips, or doing door-to-door ministry, or whatever it may be. That is just as much of a calling, and it is just as honoring to God, and it's just as much an act of worship as any of those other things are. You know, same way if you work outside of the home, how you serve your customers, or how you interact with the public, or how you cook, or how you clean someone's home, or whatever it is you do outside of the home, you know, work diligently as unto the Lord. So whatever you put your hand to, do it as unto the Lord, because that's your mission. That is your job. That is your duty. And so this home, these kids, this husband, those are my job. Those are my mission. Those are my duty. And it is my job to do those things well. And I wish I had really grasped that a few years sooner. Thankfully, God started stirring in me that desire when my oldest was a toddler. So, but I do wish that I would have known it a little sooner, because I spent a few years really just thinking, okay, let me get this motherhood thing down, and then I'll move on to better things. I'll move on to, you know, serving here and doing this, and I'll maybe get another job and whatever else. But that wasn't what God called me to. God called me to motherhood. He called me, and even if I would have taken other jobs or done other things, motherhood still would have been on my plate. So it wasn't something that I had to just check off to move on to the next best thing. It was something that I needed to find contentment in, because it is something that God called me to and He wants me to do. So those are my 3 things that I wish I had known a lot sooner. Like I said, let me know down below what you wish you would have known when you became a mom, and check out Katie's channel, Life in the Mundane, and check out the playlist, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.